Anyone who claims they fully understand the technology of our ancient ancestors is lying. We've unveiled a lot about the methods and craftsmanship of the civilizations that came before us, but we're still far from having all the answers. This video is here to show you exactly that. These are some of the most mysterious technologies and artifacts that were built by our ancient ancestors. Number 15. Noras of Hama. Most people look at the massive Noras of Hama in Syria and assume they're ancient amusement rides. But what many don't know is that these colossal wheels aren't for fun. They're over 2,500 years old and were vital for water management. Functioning more like giant water wheels, they lifted water from the Orontes River to irrigate fields and supply the city. Long before water mills were used elsewhere, Hama had them running. In fact, no similar device appeared globally until the early 1500s. That enormous time gap suggests that this technology may have been forgotten, then rediscovered centuries later. Today, only 17 wheels remain. Fewer than once stood. Some collapsed over the centuries, while others were destroyed during recent conflicts in Syria. The earliest known depiction of a Nora is on a mosaic in Apamea, dated 469 BCE. That doesn't tell us when they were built, only that they were already standing by then. Their exact origins remain unclear, but their impact on ancient hydraulic engineering is undeniable. Number 14. The Sarcophagus of Tabnit. Well, at first glance, when you look at the Sarcophagus of Tabnit, it looks unmistakably Egyptian. Its headdress, body carving, and hieroglyphs all say so. But as they say, looks can deceive. Tabnit was a Phoenician ruler and high priest of Astarte, not an Egyptian pharaoh. When his tomb was opened in the 1800s, archaeologists were shocked to find his body still intact, with all internal organs untouched. That goes against Egyptian mummification customs, which involved removing the organs. Still, the sarcophagus was clearly built in an Egyptian workshop, which raises serious questions. Why did the Egyptians construct it, yet not follow their own embalming rituals? Even more puzzling is the inscription, a hybrid of Egyptian hieroglyphs and Phoenician script. It's the only known example of such a crossover. The Phoenicians were rich, powerful, and skilled in trade, so it's possible this was a custom order, but why they borrowed so heavily from Egyptian funerary styles remains unclear. No other Phoenician burials look anything like this, and Tabnit's sarcophagus remains an outlier with no real explanation. Number 13. The mosaic at the Church of Hippos. According to the New Testament, Jesus fed 5,000 people using just a few loaves and fish, but where that event actually happened has always been debated. That changed in September 2019 when archaeologists uncovered a mosaic floor beneath layers of ash and rubble in the burnt remains of a 4th century church in Hippos, Israel. The fire that destroyed the church in the 7th century ironically preserved the artwork beneath it. The mosaic clearly features images of fish and bread, leading experts to believe this is the location where early Christians believed the miracle took place. That challenges the older theory, which placed the event on the Sea of Galilee's northwestern shore. Hippos also overlooks the Sea of Galilee, but from the eastern side. While not absolute proof, the presence of the mosaic changes the conversation entirely. At the very least, it confirms what believers in the 4th century thought. Whether that belief was rooted in truth or tradition remains an open question. What do you think about it? Well, let us know. Number 12. The Liesborn Gospel and its prayer wheel. The Liesborn Gospel was already a rare artifact when scholars discovered the hidden prayer wheel within its first blank page. Originating from Liesborn Abbey in Verden, Germany, the monastery was founded in 815. It was originally run by nuns, who were expelled in 1131 by the Bishop of Münster and replaced by Benedictine monks. The Gospel itself likely dates to the late 10th century. Its author remains uncertain, though a deacon named Gervadus may have written it. The wheel, written in Latin and arranged in concentric circles, was added later, likely in the early 1100s. The outer ring says the diagram shows the way home, but what that means is unclear. At its center is the word God. No instructions were included. There's no explanation of its purpose. Since it was hidden, some think it was meant to remain secret, possibly seen as mystical or forbidden in its time. It's been studied, debated, and still no one agrees on how or if it was meant to be used. What do you think about it? Well, drop your theory below. Now let's move to number 11. Rudston monolith. Britain's tallest monolith is practically unknown, even to most locals. If you live in the UK and the name doesn't ring a bell, you're not alone. It's called the Rudston monolith, located in the East Riding of Yorkshire. Towering at 25 feet high, it dominates both the small graveyard and the adjacent church where it stands. Its origins remain uncertain, though most scholars place its construction sometime during the late Neolithic or early Bronze Age. What's especially strange is that the stone wasn't sourced locally. It was hauled all the way from the Yorkshire moors about 40 miles away. How prehistoric communities managed to carve the stone and move it such a distance with no advanced equipment is still unknown. Scholars suggest it may have served as a ritual focus point for seasonal ceremonies or early religious events. There's also evidence that a cross was once affixed to its peak, hinting that Christian settlers may have tried to claim the monument. That theory remains unconfirmed, but the pattern fits early Christian traditions. Number 10. The Dunhuang star chart. Astronomy held deep importance in ancient cultures across the globe, helping people track time, seasons, and spiritual cycles. But the Dunhuang star chart, found in China's Mogao caves, suggests astronomical knowledge far beyond what historians believed possible. Discovered in 1900 by Taoist monk Wang Yuanlu among over 40,000 documents hidden inside the cave known as Library Cave, the chart dates back to the 7th century. It maps visible stars and constellations with stunning precision, but that's not what makes it so strange. What stuns astronomers today is that the chart appears to show Uranus and Neptune, both invisible to the naked eye and not officially discovered until the modern era. How the creator of this chart identified those planets without telescopes is unknown. The caves were used by Buddhist monks as shrines and repositories for sacred texts from the 4th to 15th centuries, making them a treasure trove for historians. But the chart remains their biggest mystery that we can't crack. Number 9. The smiling bust of Shuangdun. This 7,300-year-old female pottery figure raises more questions than it answers. It displays a faint smile across the face, but its features are riddled with small punctures, forming a pattern no one has been able to decipher. A unique symbol rests on its headgear, but what it means or even what culture it comes from is still uncertain. The artifact was unearthed in 1985 from the late Stone Age site of Shandong village. It was one of 600 items recovered, most of them tools or weapons. Only this face stood apart. Radiocarbon testing placed it around 7,300 years old. Some historians have pointed out similarities between the head symbol and markings found in ancient Mesoamerican cultures like the Olmec and Maya. That opens uncomfortable questions about ancient global contact, but no one can prove a link. It might have been ceremonial, it might have been decorative, but its quiet smile and strange markings still haven't been explained. Enzo Hilbert from France said, "It's the statue of the goddess of the Huai River, and I'd like to name her Watermelon Girl or Druids." Now it's in the museum in Bengbu City, East China. Number 8. The Bat Creek inscription debate. Authenticating ancient inscriptions is never simple. The Bat Creek stone, found in 1889 in a burial mound near Knoxville, has divided historians ever since. It features symbols carved into its face, believed by some to represent a writing system that predates Columbus. For over 130 years, experts have tried to decode it, but none of the translations have stuck. There's no clear point of reference to compare the markings against, making its origin hard to confirm. At first, many assumed the script belonged to a Cherokee dialect, but that idea fell apart. In the 1970s, Semitic language specialist Cyrus Gordon suggested it was Paleo-Hebrew and read for Judea, hinting that Jewish tribes reached the Americas long before Europeans. The theory, however, is almost universally rejected today. No other artifacts support the claim, and it's more likely a 19th century forgery. Still, the inscription's meaning hasn't been fully disproven, and its unusual lettering continues to spark debate over whether it's a hoax or something far more unexpected. Number 7. The Visby lenses. Whether the Vikings crafted magnifying glasses on purpose is still up for debate, but they undeniably created lenses that could magnify. These rare pieces, known as Visby lenses, have only been uncovered on Sweden's Gotland Island. That suggests the knowledge behind their creation was extremely limited, perhaps even confined to a single artisan or workshop. What puzzles researchers is how refined the lenses are. They have almost no spherical distortion, and the magnification power remains nearly identical from one to the next, indicating precision, not accident. The Vikings weren't readers, so the lenses weren't made for books. The most accepted theory is that they used them to concentrate sunlight and start fires. Given their craftsmanship and the fact that all known examples date to the 11th or 12th century, it's entirely possible the technique died with its maker. Whoever shaped them understood optics far better than we once thought, and that knowledge quietly disappeared, buried beneath centuries of silence and war. Number 6. Sahasralinga. In India's Karnataka state lies Sahasralinga, a mysterious archaeological site that draws interest from both historians and sci-fi enthusiasts. The carvings etched into the stone resemble intricate mechanical symbols, with some comparing them to the portals seen in the Stargate franchise. The site was once submerged when the area was turned into a reservoir, and when the waters receded, the engravings came back into view, along with a flood of unanswered questions. Not even locals know who carved them or what they signify. A few inscriptions are present, but they're so worn down by time and weather that deciphering them is nearly impossible. What's more unusual is the complete absence of tool marks. It almost suggests a type of stone shaping technology we can't account for. The designs aren't random, yet they don't align with temple layouts or known religious motifs. Though the site is now very famous, almost everything about it, its creators, its purpose, its age, remains unsolved. It's a carved riddle still waiting for a key. Number 5. Turtle Rock of Wongan. Sitting on Wongan Mountain slope in South Korea is a huge, ornately carved 127-ton stone. Known locally as Guigam Sok, most people simply call it Turtle Rock. Legend says anyone who places a hand, or better yet their forehead, on the stone will feel overwhelming peace and strength. Many swear by it, but science has yet to confirm anything. The carvings covering the stone have never been deciphered, and some believe they weren't made to be. Local belief says the stone absorbs chi energy at sunrise, and touching it draws that power out. Chi is a core idea in many Korean, Japanese, and Chinese traditions and shaped ancient healing practices. That belief likely led to this monument being carved, but no one knows who carved it or when. No markings link it to a specific culture, and its origins remain silent. In fact, if you search every single website, you can't find its age, like when it was built. And that's what makes it interesting. Number 4. Mithridates antidote. In today's world, vaccines work by introducing a small trace of a disease or toxin into the body so it can develop immunity. Shockingly, Mithridates Z of Pontus understood this principle over 2,000 years ago. Obsessed with the fear of being poisoned, especially since his father had died that way, he began ingesting tiny amounts of poisons and treating himself with honey to help recover. Over time, he blended herbs and unknown substances into the honey to craft a concoction called Mithridate. He believed it could neutralize any poison. Ironically, this strategy backfired. Years later, during conflict with the Romans, Mithridates tried to take his own life by drinking a lethal dose, but the poison had no effect. His resistance worked too well. Captured and executed soon after, he took the true formula for Mithridate to his grave. Today, no one knows exactly what he created, but it's possible that Mithridates came closer than anyone in history to discovering a universal antidote all on his own. It's ancient and it's mysterious. Number 3. The Pioneer Plaque Lookalike Stones. Well, this is not ancient. When NASA launched Pioneer 10 in 1972, it marked a huge step toward exploring the outer planets. To commemorate the moment, Frank Drake and Carl Sagan created a plaque for the probe's antenna support, engraved with symbols describing humankind in our solar system. That design bears an uncanny resemblance to a group of mysterious fused stones found in a cave in Indonesia in 1992. Like the plaque, the stones feature a depiction of a male and female figure and a solar map, but these stones are thousands of years old. Their surface holds carvings that predate modern engraving tools and, stranger still, emit an intense magnetic field that science has yet to explain. Some have wondered if the NASA design copied these carvings, but the timeline makes that impossible. This discovery is so baffling that many experts quietly ignore it rather than address the difficult questions it raises. Whether it's a relic from a forgotten civilization or something more bizarre, its origins are still unaccounted for. Number 2. The Tantalus Cup. This artifact's clever design still stumps historians. Was it built to teach restraint or just to mess with people? Known as the Tantalus Cup or Pythagorean Cup, it's said to have been invented by Pythagoras of Samos. The philosopher supposedly grew tired of students and workers showing up intoxicated, so he designed this trick vessel. Fill it halfway, and it functions like any other cup. Pour beyond that point, and the hidden U-shaped pipe inside activates. The change in air pressure causes the cup to suddenly drain from the bottom, spilling its contents all over the drinker. It's genius in design and possibly hilarious in action. Some scholars think it was created as a joke. Others view it as a lesson in moderation. The earliest known examples date back over 2,600 years, placing them squarely in Pythagoras' era. Whether or not he actually made them is still debated, but the design itself has endured for centuries. It's part prank, part parable. Number 1. The Jelling stones. Most know Harold Bluetooth because modern wireless tech stole his name and rune for branding. But long before that, Harold was king of Denmark and the man behind the famed Jelling stones. These massive rune stones documented the Vikings' transition from Norse paganism to Christianity. Etched between 826 and 965 AD, they show mythic Norse heroes, gods, and battles, only to be replaced stone by stone with Christian scenes where Christ reigns victorious. For Danish historians, the Jelling stones mark the beginning of medieval Denmark and the symbolic end of Viking belief. While much of the text and imagery is decipherable, sections remain incomplete or damaged. Some phrases defy translation, either due to erosion or ancient idioms that no longer exist. Though we can trace the narrative shift, certain meanings may be lost forever. Still, the stones stand as powerful markers of cultural upheaval when swords were lowered and crosses were raised. In stone, they tell the story of a world turning its back on old gods. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.